Good December 1st morning. I'm back in the room. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Madison. I'm Teresa Holmes, Club President. Thank you all for joining us today. Today's meeting is sponsored by Bill Hite and In Business Magazine. Thank you, Bill, for your sponsorship of today's luncheon. All right, our opening music. So the music committee is going to be singing Lift Every Voice and Sing, and I think we have a musical ensemble. And following the music, our guests are going to be introduced by Steve Goldberg. Would you please remain standing while we're singing? And join singing with your mask on, please. Thank you, Music Chorale.
Well, we have much to celebrate today, the first day of December, the fourth night of Hanukkah, and we're also celebrating the fact that we have guests among us, and we love them all. I will call their names out, and they'll stand up tall. Please applaud them warmly, as I know you will, for we have guests among us, and they give us such a thrill. Okay. So we have a thrilling group of guests, and to each guest I would ask that when I call your name, please stand and remain standing until all have been introduced so we can applaud you as the fine group you are. Starting with our visiting Rotarian from Mequon, Wisconsin, Brian Monroe. Brian, please stand. Now, Brian brought a guest with him, which is above and beyond the call of duty of a visiting Rotarian. So you get 10 extra points for hosting Beth Bauer. Beth, if you would stand, please. Beth, are you also from Mequon? Okay, excellent, excellent. Also, our Denmark Rotarian, one of his last meetings with us, Brynjolf Ernsten. I don't think they're applauding the fact that this is one of your last meetings. Deb Gilpin, guest of Marcy Henderson, please stand. John Konarski, guest of Bill Haight, please stand. Marion Riemann, guest of Paul Riemann. They know each other, please stand. Marcio Sierra, guest of George Hidalgo. Andy White, guest of his father, Bill White. Cindy Johnson, guest of Susan Schmitz. Garrett Moore and Stephen Olakara, guest of Ron Luskin and the illustrious Steve Goldberg. Tia Nelson, guest of Ellis Waller. And a special guest of the club, Connie Thompson. Connie. Chad Wellwood, a guest of Mary Pat Williams. Cheryl Gittens, a guest of Peter Gray. And a guest of the program committee, Ruth Conniff. These are our guests today.
Thank you, Steve. Who says that music's not important? We love it here. Singing. All right. We have not one, not two, but 3 new members today to present to you. Yes. Here we go. Denise Demarb, would you please stand along with your sponsors, Mark Clear and Bill White? Denise has been on the classification of manufacturing retired. She retired from Trek Bicycle, where she worked as Director of Finance. Born in Rockford, Illinois, she now makes her home at Lake Mendota Drive and has 1 adult daughter. Denise holds a bachelor degree in accounting from Northern Illinois University, and she served as an alder for the city of Madison, was active on several city committees, and currently serves as treasurer for the Kids Forward Board. Denise is an equestrian hunter jumper and enjoys hiking. She will love our fellowship groups. Denise, will you please remain standing, and will Bill Swisher and his sponsor, Ann Lucky, please stand. Bill has been loaned the classification of Science and Technology and is Chief Development Officer for the Morgridge Institute for Research. Originally from Shamokin. The president gets the names and the words wrong all the time. Shamokin, Pennsylvania. He now makes his home on Oxford Circle in Madison with his wife Laura and their son Will. He holds a bachelor's degree in English, Writing, Communications, and Rhetoric from the University of Pittsburgh, and a master's degree in Higher Education and Administration from Southern Illinois University. Bill is founder and co-president of the Network of Academic Corporate Relations Officers and a member of the Association of Independent Research Institutes. He is a baseball coach for West Madison Little League. Bill enjoys hiking, biking, baseball, and traveling with his family. He'll enjoy our fellowship groups as well. Remain standing, please, Bill and Denise. And will Cassidy Wartenweiler please stand with her sponsor, Targrays. Cassidy has been loaned the classification of architecture, and she is the project development director for Epstein Uhen Architects. Born in Monroe, Wisconsin, she came to Madison to attend college and now makes her home on Winnequa Road in Monona with her husband Garrett and their daughter Lucille. Cassidy holds a bachelor's degree in communication studies with a minor in sociology and philosophy, wow, from Edgewood College, and a master's degree in life sciences communication from the UW Madison. She is a member of the Downtown Madison, Inc., DMI, the Madison Chamber of Commerce, and the Wisconsin Technology Council. Cassidy's community services include serving on the boards of the Madison Public School Foundation's 100 State and Wisconsin Innovation Awards. She enjoys spending time with her family, live music, and running. Rotarians, please join me in welcoming these new members to our club. Our Community Grants Campaign Chair, Jason Ilstrip, will now come up and give us an update on our campaign.
Why, thank you very much, President Teresa. It's good to see all of you. Welcome back from a wonderful Thanksgiving, or as I like to call it, my birthday. Yes, yes. Welcome, Rotarians. Welcome, Bill, Denise, and good to see you. Good to see you, Cassidy. Welcome to the best club in the world. And one of the best ways, and one of the best parts of the club, I am humble, yes, Moses, yes. I did hear that. My hearing is still somewhat good. One of the best parts of the club is the community grants and what we do for the community. I'm coming in a little hot today, literally, sorry about my hair. It's got helmet hair from riding up from the amazing Madison Youth Arts Center, where DMI just had an amazing tour. I don't know if Alan Ebert is here. He's a Rotarian, he's not here. He's giving me the tour, so probably is not here. But what this shows is the amazing work that we can do as Rotary to support organizations like Children's Theater of Madison or Madison Youth Choirs and all of the amazing groups that are doing so much for our community. But the only way to get that done is if you all give. Now, drum roll, where are we, Jane? Well, we're behind. 91,510. It's actually $91,509.61, but I generously said I would donate the other 39 cents, yes, to round up. So we are getting very close. We are at 61% of our goal. We've got about another month and a half left. We're doing quite well, considering only 177 members have given. That's only 42% of our club. So that means there's 58% of you that I now get to call, email, write. I've been training pigeons on my roof to send notes to you all. Whatever it takes, because we need to be donating to help organizations like the Madison Youth Arts Center and so many things that are happening here in the community. We can't do all the good work unless we get to the goal of $150,000. So keep your phone off of vibrate and on ring, because I'm going to be calling all of you that have not given yet. And it'll be a delightful conversation. And I'm sure you're going to give money. Back to you, President.
I love it. Yes. Giving is a part of our responsibility. Yes. Yes. As Rotarians. Yes. So our program committee is continuing its series in interviewing new community leaders as a way for us to become more connected to the leaders in our community. So this month, Martha Vukelik Austin interviewed new Monona Terrace Executive Director Connie Thompson, who is actually in our audience today, I think. Oh, there she is, yes. Yes, thank you for being with us. And, and now we will have you listen to the 3-minute video of the recording and interview.
I'm Martha Vukelik Austin, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing Connie Thompson, who is the Executive Director of Monona Terrace. Connie, will you please share a little bit about yourself?
Certainly. I'm a local southern Wisconsin native. I grew up in Monroe, Wisconsin. My parents had a fairly large farm down there. I'm the oldest of 9 children. And after I graduated from high school, I ventured up to Madison, lived here several years while I went to college. Fortunate, I guess, to get a job right after I graduated in retail. Spent several more years kind of moving around the country in the retail store management positions, and kind of grew tired of moving every 2 years, and decided, since I love Wisconsin and missed my family. I have 6 sisters. We're all super close, 2 brothers. And my mom was constantly calling me saying, when are you moving back? So,
Connie, you started your current position as an executive director just before COVID started. So what were the biggest challenges that you faced after March 2020?
sure. Well, the biggest one was funding. We are funded by the room tax, with people not staying in hotels and us not having any revenue. We had to do some immediate cutting of the budgets. So I gathered my managers and we decided to try to figure out where to cut. We were able to cut out $2 million out of our budget. And then because we didn't have any revenue, we also had to cut our capital budget. We ended up being able to use our capital reserves and our reserve funds to help us along the way. Those were the biggest challenges, immediate challenges.
What do you see as the greatest opportunities for the future?
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing that I learned that I hadn't really understood maybe the magnitude of or the importance of was collaboration. And when Ellie Westman Chin came, and Deb before her, Deb Archer, we decided that we really had to hang together and help each other and support each other through this very difficult time, because we all experience the same thing. We're not fighting against each other for money. We're working together to create, economic impact and bring people to Madison. So that was my big takeaway.
Well, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Monona Terrace. I know that we'll all look forward to celebrating the 25th anniversary this coming summer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. And our thanks to Neil Fauerbach as well for recording and editing the videos for us. We're pleased to get to know a little bit more about you, Connie, and thank you again for attending our meeting today. Jennifer Weitzman is going to come to the podium now to share some exciting news for us.
Good afternoon, everyone. That's what I was looking for. Thank you. I do have some exciting news for you today, and I would like to say last Rotary year, I was the chair of the Member Retention Subcommittee, and I want to say to all of those members, we did it. So what I'm announcing today is we are rolling out a Rotary Club of Madison online apparel store. So on the tables, you'll see these little slips. And if you need any more, they should be out on the button box table. If you click on the QR code, or if you want, you can put in the URL. There's a website. We worked with Land's End. They needed to get licensed by Rotary International to be able to offer us their goods. So we finally went through that process. And if you guys go out there, there is just shy of 100 unique items. There is women's, there is men's, there is casual, there is business, there are polos, there are blouses, there are sweaters, there are vests. So what we're hoping everyone will do, and I know a lot of people have some Rotary gear already in the back of their closet, but what I would say, this is Rotary Club of Madison gear. So we want everybody, and I made sure that all of the new Rotarians got a little slip up there as well, because you'll want to get decked out. So in addition, if anybody does need any assistance with ordering online, Land's End put together a little order guide. So if anyone has any questions, you can reach out to the office and they can help you. It did make it to some, didn't make it to mine, so I just wanted to make sure that those are available if it is needed. So please go forward. We want to go out into the community, out into the business world, and really let people know the kind of people that are in this club. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. I heard that's going to be a fashion show in January. Get your merchandise, peeps. All right, our special events fellowship group is inviting Rotarians and guests to a fire and ice event at the Edgewater on Wednesday evening, December 15th. The cost is $10 to rent skates and the fee for ice skating. Or you can just come and sit around the fire and enjoy the conversation. That's what I'll be doing with other Rotarians and guests. So more details are going to be in the Friday's email, or you can contact the Rotary office. All right, can I see the hand of any Rotarian in the room who has been a member for at least 1 year? Wow. How about the hand of a Rotarian who has been a member for only 1 year? Oh, wow. All right, so does anybody know what this is? Yes, it's our membership directory. And so I have a few announcements regarding our roster and the Q&A format. We've had a few issues that have come up recently, and so I want to highlight two important Rotary policies. The first one is about our membership roster. We provide this membership roster to our members so that you can easily contact one another. You can access it also online at our members only site. And we have it printed each year so that for those who prefer a copy. So I just wanted to remind Rotarians that the policy that we have actually notes that our roster is not for distribution to non-Rotarians, nor is it to be used as a commercial mailing list. So therefore, we'd ask you that you would not do either of those things and make it possible for anyone to use the directory for commercial or non-Rotary purposes. Thank you. The second policy is that I want to remind members about the Q&A portion of our weekly programs. We have all been so eager to hear and ask questions at the end of the presentations for our great programs, and our board has approved a Q&A guideline as of October of 2019. So with us being away from in-person meetings over the last year, we just wanted to remind everyone of those guidelines. A copy is also, of the guidelines, is also on a tent card on your tables today. It's the yellow one, and we'll include them in our December newsletter that comes out on this Friday. So just wanted to familiarize all of you with our organization's guidelines and be sure we're keeping them in mind each week. Thank you. Birthdays. We have a few birthdays to celebrate with a bit of humor or wisdom that complements our Rotary mission. We also encourage members to make an age-appropriate gift to the Madison Rotary Foundation, rounded up to $100 for our club's Synergy Scholarship Fund. Rotarian, as I call your name, if you are in the room, please stand. Moses Altek, who says, in place of a birthday message, I would like to take a moment to remember the late Rotarian Dick Mole. Dick used to express appreciation for fellow Rotarians by offering them a Paul Harris Fellow. What a great legacy. That is why it's my pleasure to do the same for our very own formidable Pat Jenkins. Thank you, Pat. She's in the hallway. All right, November 28th. Remember, if you're in the room, please stand and stay standing. Thank you, Moses. November 28th, Ann Lindsay. November 28th, Bruce Westervelt. November 29th, Stu Leviton. He stood before I called his name. He knew it was coming. Who quotes the Grateful Dead? Sometimes the light's all shining on me. Other times I can barely see. Lately, it occurs to me what a long, strange trip it has been. November 29th, Stacy Nemeth. November 29th, Tammy Taylor. December 1st, Paul Fenland. December 1st, Mary O'Brien, who says, I am truly grateful for my Rotary friends who have helped me through our 2 years of challenge. May we all look back for the positive experiences gained in this time. December 2nd, Jim Kruger. December 3rd, Greg Everts. All right, and thank you to all our celebrants for your contributions to the Madison Rotary Foundation. Please join me in wishing them a happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rotarians. Happy birthday to you. And now, on to our program. Our speakers today are Cameron Swallow and SUSAN Vergeront, who are the red and blue co-directors of the Braver Angels in Wisconsin. Braver Angels is a nationwide grassroots nonprofit dedicated to depolarizing the political and cultural conversation in our nation. Great efforts. Cameron Swallow lives in Kenosha. She's been a public school teacher and was an Interact advisor while attending high school in Tennessee. She serves on several local volunteer boards and plays with the bluegrass band Flat Creek Highway. We have a bluegrass band in our club. SUSAN Vergeront is a retired Presbyterian minister who lives in Waunakee. Prior to her call into ministry, SUSAN was active in politics and was elected to the Grafton School Board for 2 terms and representative to the State Assembly for 10 years. They have titled their speech as Braver Angels, starting conversations, not fights. Our Community Projects Committee, along with past club president Paul Reineman, who's here, would like to seek input from members about coordinating a Braver Angels event to put what you've heard today into practice. As you listen to our program today, think about whether you'd be interested in attending a Braver Angels event for our Rotary Club outside of a regular meeting. There are ivory-colored sheets at your table that you can use to sign up if you are interested. Ladies, we look forward to your presentation, and we have made a contribution to the Rotary International Polio Plus Fund as a way of saying thank you for speaking to us today. I'll just mention briefly about the Q&A section at the end of the speaking if we have opportunity of time. Rotarians and guests, let's welcome them to our podium.
Thank you so much, Teresa. And we're going to open this program with a song that'll be on the video that really describes the problem we're facing. And sometimes you can't really hear the lyrics like this, so the lyrics are printed on the back of your handout. I think it's called The Great Divide or something along those lines. So let's listen to that, and then we'll tell you all about Braver Angels.
Nana was a registered Republican, Pappy was a Democrat for life. You never heard a word of anger pass between that husband and his wife. People kinda wondered why they bothered to even take the time to put on coats and go out to the schoolhouse on a Tuesday night to cancel out their votes. It used to be, there was a time we could agree to disagree. Before the slide into the Great Divide. Now every word I hear about my country feels like gasoline poured on a flame. Seems like everybody's picking sides and picking fights and calling names. Everywhere I look I see the anger. Every conversation fills with trolls. Everybody knows the party lines. We wave our signs, we play our roles. Used to be, this land of us and them was made for you and me. But I guess that died in the Great Divide. And yes, I know you didn't start this fight, and I've heard the other side is more to blame. And I know that there's a wrong and right, and we can't afford to lose this game. We're all losing just the same. 'Cause we get kinda stupid when we're angry. It's easier to hurt a herd that hates. The Play us like a sucker on the line each time we rise to click the bait. Oh, but there's a simple, hard solution, older than the oldest grudge you've nursed. Someone's gonna have to lay their sword down, but someone's gonna have to do it first. And it seems to me we've forgotten who's a friend or enemy. And you'll recall that a house divided surely is gonna fall. Fall for spite, and fall for pride into the great divide. Nana was a registered Republican, Pappy was a Democrat for life.
That really sums it up, doesn't it? I bring you all greetings from the Wanakee Rotary Club. We're probably the second best club in the nation. Our membership is about maybe a third, but we do a lot of good things, and I love Rotary for the good things it does, both for the community and around the world. So we're talking about Braver Angels today. Our name used to be Better Angels. And then January 6th happened, and now we have to be Braver Angels. That's a joke. I guess maybe that's too tender of a joke. I don't know. But, okay, what really happened was a lawsuit by some other Braver Angels. And they thought the name should be theirs. So Abraham Lincoln had a lot of good sayings and quotable quotes, but there's one that that I didn't recognize, but it is a quote from him. He said, "I don't like that man. I really must get to know him." And that is, if you're like me, you've been hearing a lot about Abraham Lincoln lately, these days because of the division we face. And hopefully, like me, you're interested in doing what you can to cross this great divide and understand that everybody has a right to their opinion, even if they're wrong. And they deserve respect for what they believe, even if they're wrong. I mean, do you know what I mean? You can respect somebody who differs from you. They're not bad people. They're not awful, stupid people. They are just another individual with a different point of view. It's been hard to remember that, I know, but, both sides are throwing rocks at each other. Oopsie, back. There's a personal cost to polarization. We look at our own party and think we're all together and all right. And then there's the other party. We're up, they're down. Now it could be flipped around. Over the last few decades, this is the personal cost. Our effect, our emotions and attitudes towards even our own party have stayed relatively similar or even gotten better, according to the annual review of political science. But our views of the other party, according to a 2019 study in the annual review of political science, has gotten much worse. Effective polarization differs in that it is emotional. Americans it's not just about the issues, but how we regard our fellow Americans. It builds animosity, contempt, and distrust. I'm sure every person in this room has a story about how you had an unfortunate crossing with somebody whose opinion differed from you. And you may have risen to the occasion as well, or not, but it's a cost to our emotions, and it's still there. People are concerned about the divide in politics. These days, people are willing to do anything to defeat the other party. Effective polarization is dangerous because, as we've seen, many people are willing to commit crimes, to do anything. We see that in Portland, Oregon. It was amazing what went on there. And also on January 6th, which was equally amazing. No one side has a lock on amazing and really things that we would never think of doing 5 years ago, maybe 8 years ago. And we're unwilling to admit few, if any, faults. We also tend to become seeing our side as incredibly diverse and the other side as all the same. And that goes for both sides. I mean, it all depends on the point of view you're looking at it from. To get a sense of how, there's the picture of people having a hard time with all this. Okay. To get a sense, I keep going backwards here. To get a sense of how polarized we are, one really telling message is how parents look at it if their child married someone of the opposite political family. In 1960, the chart shows 4% of Republicans and 4% of Democrats thought they'd be pretty unhappy if their child married somebody from the other party. Today, 35% of Republicans and 45% of Democrats feel that way. I mean, that's a huge increase. It's gotten to be more important than religion in many families. We treat people who we disagree with as if they're less than us, and they're certainly not willing and not worthy of joining our family. Okay. But the good news also shows us that we have much more in common than we think, and that's where Braver Angels comes in. And Cameron will tell us all about it.
Thanks, Susan. Susan had the job of telling you the depressing part, and I get the job of telling you the hopeful part, that there are things that we can do. Braver Angels was founded in 2016 as a way to get voters from both sides. It was, distinctly, deliberately political. So they said 10 Trump voters, 10 Clinton voters in the same room, spend a whole weekend together. And they found magic in a bottle. This was in Ohio, and they said, if we can bottle this experience, this needs to be scaled. This is good medicine. This can save our country. And they said, it worked so well this time, let's film it next time. So they had a second one, and they made a documentary. You can watch that documentary. It's called Braver Angels. No, it's called Better Angels. It was before the name change that Susan talked about. Reuniting America. So that is the message I'm coming here with, and there are actual concrete steps and procedures and workshops that you can bring to your community to sort of jumpstart an alliance that continues the conversation and really builds grassroots repair of the social fabric. That's the goal of Braver Angels. Strengthening our democratic republic at the grassroots level. So here's the Braver Angels Pledge. I'll put it in 3 parts here. It's also on your handout. As individuals, we try to understand the other side's point of view, even if we don't agree with it. In our communities, we engage with those we disagree with, looking for common ground and ways to work together. And in politics, we support principles that bring us together rather than things that divide us. And at every level of organizational guidance, red and blue leaders are equally represented. I'm very grateful to be working with Susan. As she is the red to my blue, and here we are, the co-directors of Wisconsin. And our personal hope for 2022 is to link our workshops and programs with structures that already spread statewide so that we don't have to recreate a structure, and we can ride the channels of Rotary statewide, ride the channels of, we went to a League of Women Voters thing, we went to a UW Extension event, and these groups that already have statewide structures, I want to introduce them to Braver Angels and use that as a way to spread the depolarization message to the state. Okay, I've already told you our story, so I'm going to skip this part. There are 4 things that we do. One is workshops, and I'm going to detail those in a minute. One is a local alliance, and that would be local Madison people who've been through a workshop that we're going to try to get going with those little ivory small sheets on your table. Once you have a workshop, and you have reds and blues who've experienced it and want to keep the conversation going, and they said, yes, this is a good thing, this will help our community, this will help our nation, you want to keep the conversation going, you can start an alliance as long as there's balanced red-blue membership, like me and Susan. So local leadership needs to be balanced just the way that national leadership is. And if you look at Braver Angels' website and look at their board of directors, it is 50-50 balanced red and blue. It's one of the strongest advantages of this program over others that I can think of that argue for civil discourse but are unbalanced in their leadership. Right? It's proof that they are really trying to live what they speak. So that's an alliance that could sponsor a monthly activity. Some of those monthly activities could be workshops, some could be book discussions, some could be film discussions, some could be, number 4, issue discussions, some could be inviting a local politician to, what promises by definition to be a civil town hall, the idea of a town hall the way it was originally conceived, that doesn't seem to get to happen anymore. There are workshops. I'm going back to number 1 and giving you the sort of outline details of them. There are conversation workshops, the red-blue that lasts all day, like that original one in Ohio in 2016. And then there's the Common Ground workshop, which is tailored to a local issue that gets chosen. And that involves a lot of conversation among participants. Then there are skills training workshops. These are shorter, and they're more scripted and more sort of teacher-led with practice. So if you're on Zoom, it's a lot of instruction in the main room and then discussion and practice in the breakout rooms, and then you come back to the main room and talk and go back to the breakout rooms and practice. Okay, that's the basic structure for all of these. The first one, Skills for Bridging the Divide, has reds and blues. You're practicing talking across the divide, but in the second one, depolarizing within, that IN got left off. It's depolarizing within. You're practicing listening and evaluating the polarizing voice in your own heart and how to counteract that, and also how to counteract those escalating conversations in your own silo among people that are part of your own in-group, and say, whoa, wait a minute, those people that you're demonizing, those people that we're escalating in our outrage about, most of them are human beings too. Don't class them all as the extremists. I'm not saying that there are no monsters in the world. The world has had monsters. History has had monsters. But most of us are not monsters. And if we can remember that the vast majority of the ordinary people on the other side are not monsters, then we've got a chance of working out something, finding some common ground that we can stand on to find the next step forward. the Families in Politics is a new offering, and we got to offer it up in the Milwaukee area right before Thanksgiving. That was very timely. But there's still time to offer one before Christmas, which would also be very timely if that's the one you're interested in. And then depolarizing conversations about race, I want to make sure that it's clear that that is not an idea of bringing two different races together to have conversations about conflicting things. It's mostly a conversation among white people about how they talk about race. Okay, so it's not like going out and trying to find matching numbers of people of different races to talk about difficult items. It's mostly about how does our country talk about race, and how can we learn to avoid the trigger words and the pitfalls, and the, where do we have some common ground if we just learn to talk about it properly. Other programs, one-to-one conversations, that can be done with just you and an appointed friend from across the color line. There's a script on the Braver Angels website that will lay it all out for you. You make a commitment to a 1-hour conversation, then you make a commitment to a later 1-hour conversation after you've had some time to think and mull over what happened in the first conversation.
Why don't you mention how they can get to the website?
Oh, okay, the website is on your handout, and also the descriptions of the 4 most popular workshops, which I'm hoping will be what y'all decide to bring here in the future. And that website is braverangels.org, www.braverangels.org. And what are the results of this program? In general, 70 to 80% of participants in Braver Angels workshops report better understanding and increased feelings of warmth to those on the other side. Believe it, it's true. It's not just our own studies that show that this is working, okay? We reduce affective polarization. An academic study in 2021 across 7 different universities shows that those who had Braver Angels workshops had an impact on depolarization. Okay. The goal of Braver Angels has never been to change anybody's views on an issue. The goal of Braver Angels is to change our views about each other. And once we've changed our views about each other and decided that most of us, power in numbers, y'all, most of us on both sides are not monsters, then we are empowered to find more collaborative solutions. And let me pause right here to say that is built into Rotary's DNA. And if y'all remember, like 4 years ago, there was like a 4-page spread in the Rotary magazine about Braver Angels, and they had an interview with the founder and the writer of the curriculum, Bill Doherty. He lives in Minnesota, and he's a family therapist, and so the language of family therapy is naturally in this bridging the divide kind of language that he's written for Braver Angels. And he said, that line about it being in Rotary's DNA is actually a Bill Doherty line. I've heard him address a Rotary club in the same way. You already know about finding collaborative solutions, about working with people who aren't like you, but who share common goals for the common good in your community. So in my mind, the Rotary Club in general, and particularly here in Madison, is a perfect match for Braver Angels' mission. Here are some ways. Oh, and there's Greg and Kuyar. Greg is a fundamentalist Christian man who met Kuyar, a Muslim man, in a Braver Angels workshop, the one that is immortalized in the documentary film. And they decided to visit one another's houses of worship, and they are now household friends, exchanging dinner invitations and family gatherings. Yes, before the pandemic, they went on the road, Susan is telling me. They had a traveling mission, I guess, to depolarize America. We're looking for commonalities and overlaps, if they exist. We are seeing people on the other side as individuals, not stereotypes. We are recognizing others as worthy of respect and admiration. And we establish ways to work together and even becoming friends, like Greg and Kuyar in that picture. So imagine, just for a moment, imagine what things would look like if we really could scale the operations of Braver Angels. What would it be like if we all approached our country's issues with this approach of looking for common ground first where it's possible? Our vision is to tell the American story in this new way, this hopeful, collaborative way. We know it's got to start from the ground up. But we also know that if it stays at just the level of ordinary citizens without building strategic partnerships, then it also dies there at the grassroots level, right? It's got to be grassroots, but then build up from there. So we need to influence our institutions. I know many of you are in positions to influence institutions. And Braver Angels has our own national convention. We've just received the disappointing news that it is also not going to be happening in the summer of 22, but it is going to be happening in the summer of 23. Yes, Susan is reminding me. Those of you who might be wondering what pie in the sky conversations and workshops might have to do with practical matters, Braver Angels has a brand new initiative that's just been launched in the last month. It's called Braver Politics, and it really is engaging elected leaders in states and in Washington, D.C., and in local areas as well. I have only learned about the launch so far, and I'm not a retired elected leader, but I am very interested, and if you are interested in bringing that Braver Politics to Madison and to Wisconsin, I would love to connect you with the right people at the national level of Braver Angels. And there is the website, and if you don't want to deal with it right now, text BA to 66866 and it will give you a reminder. Okay, those are ways for you to join the effort. Okay, I know that I've been talking a long time and you have to get out of here at 1:05. Is there time for any questions or do you have a wrap up that you need to do?
We have time for questions.
Okay, I see one.
Where did she go? There she is. There she is.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you. May I suggest that we stop using the concept of both sides? Because it puts everybody, thank you, it puts everyone on one side together with its extremists, and it puts everybody on the other side together with its extremists, and creates a whole, it's kind of like the old days of, well, she did it, so I can do it kind of behavior. So I'm just suggesting that this both sides concept is something that we might want to, you in your work might want to begin to eliminate. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there other questions?
Yeah, I really like the initial concept that you're focused on people from both parties, and I was really excited. I actually signed my name on it, but you know, I've been in Madison a long time, and diversity. When you kind of went there, it seems like you're trying to do everything. I think if you just focus on having people have the conversations, I think it's important. The one-to-one conversations really make some meaningful change. But I was a little distressed that you kind of threw the diversity thing in there, and I'm just not sure that that's a little more difficult to talk about, whether it's one-on-one or not. So
The main focus for me of Braver Angels is teaching people how to have civil discussions where they can understand where each other's coming from and maybe find something to agree on. And that's the way compromise happens. That's the way you move forward. The diversity, I think, is a nod at diversity. And truly, Braver Angels is for everybody, regardless of where they come from, who they are, what color they are, where they grew up, all those different things, all those different silos, including color and nationality. Our main focus is teaching people how to have good conversations.
We have time for one more question.
It's right here. I've always been told that I was an angel, and so you spoke to me this morning. Thank you. I was waiting to hear something about critical race theory being part of this curriculum, and it was not. I wondered why.
Because it really doesn't have anything to do with learning how to have a decent exchange of ideas. I mean, it may be one of the ideas you talk about, and that's fine, but it isn't about issues as much as it is learning how to understand where the other person is coming from and respecting that person. And I know sometimes that's hard. I have it in my own family. No, I mean, our Thanksgiving was horrible because nobody'd come because they were asked to wear a mask and blah. Yeah. So we're not about issues. We're not about liberal or conservative. We're about people trying to understand each other and to look what they might have in common. And I served in the legislature for 10 years. And for some reason, well, no, I was in the minority for 10 years. And if I wanted to get anything done, I had to sell a Democrat in that it was their best interest. That, I had to learn how to talk. And I did some of my best work in a bipartisan manner. Teresa.
Could I say one thing?
I do want to point out on the critical race theory question that it has been a subject of one of the Braver Angels national debates. And at Carthage College, where my husband is president, we had a campus debate about, we didn't call it critical race theory, but about how we teach about race in our history curricula. And that was a Braver Angels debate whose tagline is seeking truth, not victory. And so it is a topic that is covered and handled in Braver Angels activities, but it is not part of the founding principles. Thank you.
Thank you both for your presentation. We all have much to learn, I'm sure. Rotarians, we are adjourned.